Good day, my name is Omkar, and on today's episode of Diksha, I will be discussing how money equals time. So nowadays in our busy lifestyle, we come across the phrase, time is money. And I was thinking about what that meant. I was toying with the idea a little and seeing where it took me. That, well, is time really equal to money? Or how is time equal to money? And at the base level, we could say that when we have a job or when we work for a salary, our employer pays us for our time. So at the base level, we can say, okay, my time is worth $20 an hour or $30 or whatever the salary is. But then, when we are not on work or we are not on the clock, is our time worth money? And I would say yes, that our time equals money. And the reason I say that is because, let's say, for example, my meals that instead of waking up at an early hour and cooking breakfast and having my breakfast home, or preparing a lunch, or coming home in the evening time and cooking dinner, instead of doing this, let's say I chose to buy my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, then that would mean that in the morning, well, let's say, just for argument's sake, my breakfast costs $30, and my lunch costs $30, and my dinner costs $40. And I get a salary of $20 an hour. So then, technically speaking, I have saved 1.5 hours in the morning in terms of time by buying breakfast. And on the flip side of that, we can say by waking up at let's say 5, I have saved 1.5 hours. I have saved $30 by cooking my own breakfast. Right? That's a simple dollar and cent scenario there, where we can say, okay, by cooking, I save that money directly. Now let's say, now obviously all of this takes in a fixed amount into consideration. So we're not thinking about, let's say, the cost of the food or the cost of the raw material, the raw ingredients, and the type of meal. Now let's say I'm too busy to clean my house. I'm too busy with work to clean my house. I'm too busy with work to take care of my children. Then I hire a maid and I hire a babysitter. So then my time that I am trying to save from cleaning, if it were to take 2 hours a day, I don't know, 1 hour a day, over 30 days, if I am spending more in babysitting than, well, if I'm working with $20 an hour, so $20 an hour, I'm saving $600 a month. But I'm paying a maid $1,000 a month to clean. Then technically I'm losing money because I'm not saving enough time to offset the cost of hiring the maid. Similarly, with the babysitter, it's the same scenario. And that's strictly dollars and cents. So we are looking at, time equals cost scenario. But let's take that a step further and say, I don't have time to exercise because I'm busy working. Now, it's not a straight dollars and cents scenario. So I'm working. I want to put a couple hours extra in work every day, and for that reason, I don't have time to exercise. So I work 2 hours extra every day. So that's $40 every day. And I work like that for, let's say, 30 years. Right? So roughly speaking, we are talking about $219,000 over a period of 30 years that you have saved. Well, okay, but you never exercise for 30 years. Well, what happens by the time you're 55? You have a heart condition, you have high blood pressure, you have diabetes. Right? In today's world, you might have a tumor. So, well, $220,000 easily disappears treating a heart disease only. So you haven't even begun. So you have done a heart operation, and your $220,000 that you have saved from not exercising 1 hour each day is gone. Well, what do you have to do? You have to still treat the diabetes and the high blood pressure and the tumor. And that's where the time translated into money, where if you calculate it over the long term, it ends up costing more than the time you try to save. So, well, you might argue, well, that's in a strictly physical sense, but we can apply it to psychological situations as well, where if I don't have the time to raise my children properly, or to take care of my relationships, and I work hard and I don't work on my marriage, I don't spend time in my marriage because I look at the extra money I may earn as opposed to spending time with my partner, with my wife or my husband. Well, then what happens in the divorce? You have to spend money behind an expensive divorce. Is one. The settlement takes up half of your wealth. And if you have to pay maintenance on the children, then you consume more money in the maintenance than you would if the children were living with you. So the time spent, or the time you try to save by working, or the money you try to save by working, translated into money that has to be spent later on elsewhere. So the whole point I want to drive home here is that time is directly equal to money. And you can spend one or the other. And even the time that we think is worth nothing has a dollar sign attached to it that we have to decide if we are willing to spend, or we have to realize, more importantly, which one costs more. Like in the example for health and for marriage issues and children issues as well, that the initial money you may earn is nothing compared to the loss that you will incur for the same period of time. For the same, let's say, an hour spent extra in work may translate to 10 hours worth of time in salary in what it's going to cost you. So in our decision making, I would say that we should be assessing, and it's not like I'm saying to always think about money. I'm not saying that a dollar sign should be attached to everything. What I'm saying is, if we are making a decision based on what we may earn, if I spend an extra hour here, or extra 2 hours or 3 hours here earning money, we have to realize what it's going to cost. Because I'm so focused on earning money, so obviously I have to think what it's going to cost later down the road. Because if I am choosing to sacrifice my personal relationships or my health it could be later down the road that the sacrifice wasn't worth it. It just cost more. And you lost the youth, you lost your time with family. You may have loved seeing your kids grow up, spending your youthful years with your spouse. And later on in ill health and old age realize that the money earned was not worth the time sacrificed. And that is my thought, my assessment on the phrase that time equals money, or time is money. So that is my presentation for today on Diksha. I hope the points presented here highlight some areas or aspects you may not have considered previously, or I hope it pointed you in a direction that you may not have been aware existed. So I hope you enjoyed today's program. Feel free to leave comments on our Sankhya Television Facebook page. And probably you can suggest, or you may have a topic that you would like to have discussed, and you can leave your ideas for topics as well on our Facebook page. So my name is Omkar, and I will see you next time.